Now, first and foremost, I said last episode, it was hard for me to envision the Packers losing this game. Because it felt like everything was on the Packers side as an advantage outside of the overall record that Aaron Rodgers has against the 49ers, which going into the game was 0-3. The 49ers just played a game against Dallas. They looked great against Dallas the first half of that game. The second half, they looked horrible. Jimmy G had a hand injury finger injury, and now going to the game, he had a shoulder injury. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner were in concussion protocol. Now, of course, they got out, but the Packers were the more fresh team. I mean, they didn't play it. This was their bye week, and I think there is something to be said where you can say that there's an advantage both sides. One advantage to playing in the wild card round, and one advantage to, of course, and I talked about this last episode, one advantage to not playing. Of course, you already have a game under your belt. If you played in the wild card, you already have a game under your belt. Your team is a little more amped because you just had a week to play, so you feel how the playoff intensity is for this year's playoff iteration. The team that has the bye week or the number one overall seed in the conference is fresh, a lot fresher. You're playing at their stadium. It makes sense. It was cold. It was like 10 degrees, but it felt like 0, and it snowed halfway. And you're playing a West Coast team that their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, has never played a game that was under 40 degrees. Now you're playing in a game that is 0 degrees. You had Aaron Rodgers. Za'Darius Smith came back. Jair Alexander came back. Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones. Everything, not except for Aaron Rodgers' record against the 49ers, felt like was an advantage to the Packers. And after the first drive of the game, where Aaron Rodgers scores, or A.J. Dillon scores, you think to yourself, and with ease too, Aaron Rodgers throwing darts to Devontae Adams. I was like, oh, yeah, here it goes. It's going to be a long game for the 49ers. But there was one fault or one little dink in the Green Bay Packers armor that people would talk about, but never really came back to bite them until this game, and that is their special teams. Now, their special teams have struggled all year, whether it's Crosby missing a lot of kicks in one game, whether it's special team blunders, whether it's giving up kick returns or punt returns. Their special teams has struggled mightily. And again, because you have Aaron Rodgers, it hasn't really come back to bite them until this game. So I say all that to say, the 49ers went into Green Bay in the frozen tundra and beat the Green Bay Packers 13-10. And a lot of people, this game had a lot of stipulations to it. And most of those stipulations, of course, whatever team goes to this, or whatever team wins goes to the NFC Championship. However, kind of like the Chiefs and Bills game, this game had a lot of storylines going into it too. Both teams are having sort of a quarterback issue. The Green Bay, we know what happened the offseason coming into this season with Aaron Rodgers, and the future for Aaron Rodgers being in Green Bay is still up in the air. You bring in Trey Lance for the 49ers with Jimmy G. So the future with Jimmy, or the future of Jimmy G in San Francisco, is up in the air. But everyone felt that this game was more important to the Green Bay Packers because this would be the second year where they're going into the playoffs, or the third consecutive year where they're going into going to the playoffs or going to the AFC Championship 13-3. Or let me say this: this is like the third year in a row where the consensus is the Packers are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFC, and they go into the playoffs. And this is the second out of 3 years that they have lost now to the 49ers. Now, the first time they just got destroyed. Raheem Mostert just went crazy on them, and that the defense wasn't that good. And then, of course, they lost to Tampa Bay and the Bucs last year, and now they lose to the 49ers again. But you felt that the Green Bay Packers needed this game more than anything because you don't know how many more times, one, you have Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay Packers suit. Two, you don't know how many, if you do have Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers more than likely is going to win his fourth MVP. So you don't want to waste an MVP season, back-to-back MVP season, because last year they lost to the Bucs. Now, going into the game, you just felt Green Bay needed this more than the 49ers. And special team blunders. You miss a kick. No. You get your kick blocked. The only touchdown that the 49ers scored was a blocked kick that was returned for a touchdown. Then at the end of the game, where you have the game-winning field goal, you only have 10 men on the field and almost get the kick or almost get a blocked kick. But just imagine if you had the amount of people that you were supposed to have, which is 11. Or you're allowing Deebo Samuels to have a big return in the second half after a kick return. Or during a kick return, allowing Deebo Samuels, who is the only threat right now because Jimmy G wasn't playing that good. The only threat. In fact, nobody was really playing that good. Jimmy G wasn't playing that good. George Kittle was dropped a huge pass in the first half. But the momentum started to go in the second half when you allow Deebo Samuels to do a huge kick return. Now, a lot of people are talking about the special teams, and rightfully so. The special teams was a big reason, the main reason, in my opinion, that Green Bay lost this game. But I would be remiss that I have to talk about the play of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good game. The second half, he was shut out. I mean, I'm not gonna say shut out. Second half, he didn't play well. Now when he threw the ball to Mercedes Lewis, the tight end Mercedes Lewis is like 39 years old, by the way, about to be 40, and Mercedes Lewis fumbled the ball. You just felt that he lost all confidence in any other receiver, any other tight end outside of Davante Adams, because it just felt like all he was doing was targeting Davante Adams. Now, that could be because Davante Adams was open majority of the time, and he was I think Davante Adams like 9 or 10 catches. So it wasn't bad that he was, but you would want him to try to get a Lazard more touches or try to get a tight end more touches so that late in the game, as we saw, when you try to go to Davante Adams, he's getting double teamed because they know that you're not going to anybody else. It's bad. It's a bad blemish on Aaron Rodgers. The fact that he is this good, the fact that he will go down as one of the best pure talent quarterbacks we have ever seen, yet he only has one Super Bowl. Hell, Eli Manning, who nobody, maybe outside of Giants fans, but nobody would say is better than Aaron Rodgers has 2. I mean, it was bad all around, man. This is huge. This is huge for the 49ers, and this is huge for Green Bay. I think moving forward now, what happens? Aaron Rodgers expressed that he's going to take some time to figure it out. And where do I think that? I think Green Bay is the best place for him to go. I mean, if you look at the outside of possibly the Saints. Now, we don't know if Sean Payton's going to come back to coach, and I think that's going to be a huge thing. But outside of the Saints, I don't see a team better than Green Bay. I mean, maybe Denver, but you don't know about that. That offensive line is not as good as the Green Bay Packers. Their defense is probably on the same level, if not better than Green Bay, but you don't know about the quarterback. I mean, no, you don't know about the coach. You don't have an Aaron Jones. You don't have a. I think that one thing that really stood tall in Aaron Rodgers' post-game press conference was when he said that I'm not interested in being in a rebuild, which makes sense. You're an older quarterback. You've already been in the league. You've seen the highest of highs. You're trying to get back. The last thing you want, and you have a lot of big free agents. You have Devontae Adams, what's going to happen with him. Robert Tonyan, what's going to happen to him. Zendarius Smith, what's going to happen to him. This team could go into a rebuild because, I mean, if you lose arguably the top wide receiver in the game, you lose a huge defensive piece in Zendarius Smith, you can kind of, because if you do have Aaron Rodgers, you can kind of lose Tonyan and maybe draft a tight end. I mean, we're seeing the tight end for Pittsburgh. He was incredible this year, and he was a rookie. So you can kind of get the production out of a tight end from the draft, but there's not a player in this draft as good as Zendarius Smith or nowhere close to as good as Devontae Adams, even with Aaron Rodgers. So I understand. I think that management, at least for Green Bay, their number one. Now, people would say that their number one goal should be to re-sign Aaron Rodgers. No. Your number one goal is to re-sign Devontae Adams. Now, you can put him on a franchise tag, but to me, you want to at least have or show Aaron Rodgers, because they've come out and already said that they want Aaron Rodgers to stay. Why would you not want Aaron Rodgers to stay? You know Jordan Love's not ready to be a quarterback in this league. He may not ever be ready to be a quarterback in this league, at least a starting quarterback. So, of course, you want Aaron Rodgers to stay. But your number one thing is you do not let Devontae Adams walk out that door. And then you say, hey, okay, Aaron Rodgers, we have, your number one targets here. We had a mildly successful, even though it didn't end the way that we wanted it, and it should have ended. We had a successful season. The defense is still top. I mean, you still have Zaire Alexander. Which he could leave as well. Kevin King could leave. So that's another big piece, even though he be getting torched sometimes. That's a big piece. So it's like, yo, we don't want to be in a rebuild. We need you to stay. We have Devontae Adams. Come on. And of course, then it's on Aaron Rodgers. And even in that could, Aaron Rodgers could have made his mind up. So who knows? But I just think that this is a huge blemish on Aaron Rodgers. This is a huge blemish on the Green Bay Packers. I'm not. A lot of people say that Matt LaFleur is a great coach, and I'm not saying that he's not. But we'll talk about Brooklyn a little later in the show. But the jury, in my opinion, is still out on Matt LaFleur, and that's because of, look at who you have on this team. It's like, Look at. Do you think? And I'm not taking a shot at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr can be a great coach, but do you think that Steve Kerr would be as successful if he didn't have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. He had KD. If he didn't have Draymond Green on that team, do you think he'd be as successful as as one of the most successful coaches in NBA history? Do you think that Steve Nash would be a head coach still in this league if he wasn't coaching Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving? Hell, maybe. I don't know if Steve Nash is a good coach, but I do know that you have 3 of the top 10 offensively gifted players in the league. It's going to be a little easier than somebody that's, coaching Detroit and only has, Jeremy Grant and Cade Cunningham. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying that Matt LaFleur is a bad coach. What I'm saying is people are saying, Matt LaFleur is such a great coach. Bro, you have Aaron Rodgers on your team. You have Aaron Jones on your team. You have Devontae Adams on your team. You have Zendarius Smith, Preston Smith, Zaire Alexander. You have some really good pieces. I don't know. And I only question that because this is yet another year where Green Bay Packers should have finished a lot higher or a lot further than where they finished. We can talk about the late game blunder that they had. Now, a lot of that was on Aaron Rodgers last year as far as just running the ball and probably would have scored. But the decision to take Aaron Rodgers off in the fourth quarter against the Bucs when you need a touchdown. I know he's not a special teams coach, but the special teams was god awful this year. The 49ers run the ball down your throat 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions in Green Bay right now, and the biggest one is, where is Aaron Rodgers coming back or not? That to me decides a lot about this organization, because you go from being an organization that more than likely could be back next year because you have an Aaron Rodgers, or a team that for sure will be one of the worst teams in the league next year because you don't have Aaron. You go from championship aspirations to to draft aspirations or bottom of the league, and now your division is up in the air. So, and on the 49ers side, man, enough can't be said about this. It's been so. This. I'm shocked that the 49ers are here. I am shocked that the 49ers are here because, one, you beat Green Bay in Green Bay, but two, it's like a team that had as many injuries as they had the entire year, and how bad they looked at a couple instances is now in the NFC Championship. A team that has the same issues at the quarterback position, or the same question marks at the quarterback position that the Green Bay Packers have. It was just handled completely different. Now, yes, Jimmy G is not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but the way that Aaron Rodgers handled this and the Green Bay Packers handled this, and the way that Jimmy G and the 49ers handled it, was completely different, like night and day different. Hell, for a while, you even forgot that the 49ers was trying to get, they just drafted Trey Lance. They were not trying to have Jimmy G start for them. It's crazy, man. But shouts out to the 49ers, man. They made the big plays when they had to. Deebo Samuels made big plays when he had to. George Kittle, even though he dropped a big pass in the first quarter, he made huge plays down the field. And of course, Robbie Gould kicking the game-winning field goal. Shouts out to the 49ers for beating the Green Bay Packers 13-10 and now advancing to the NFC Championship. Their second NFC Championship in what, 3 years or 4 years, something like that. So Shouts out to the 49ers.